What's going on out there in the crypto worlds and other places of market trading business types? This is No Noise with your host, myself, Z-Rex. It's late Sunday night, December 9th, 2018, and we're gonna try to just get this one. I got home a little bit late, and just wanted to get out a quick little recap before the, I guess more of a planning kind of idea to maybe prepare yourself for this coming week. We should have some big moves and opportunities in both crypto and traditional equities. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Still kind of sitting around the same on the market cap. Nothing very different about that. One thing that is different is Bitcoin dominance is up a good chunk here, now over 55%. So Mama Bear is regaining some of its market dominance, which, isn't a surprise. It usually is pretty high. It only was low back when altcoins and the big gigantic bubble were happening. Everybody thought, and you could for a long time make hundreds or thousands of percent in days or weeks. You pretty much just took a shit on anything and it took off. It was pretty wild. Let's see here. Kind of just flat-ish day, a little bit up. We kind of got that pop up into the trend line area and consolidation around 36 that we were discussing last night, which is pretty cool because, like I said, that gives me an opportunity to maybe add some shorts on there. We'll talk about that here in a second. Oh, here we go. EOS, that's what was moving big earlier today. So EOS, good old Larimer's project, having a nice bounce off of this, about 150 level here. I mean, it just got obliterated, down about 70% or so. In the same time, everything else was down around, 50-ish. So definitely took it on the chin. Pretty hardcore. Got quite a bit of volume here. Not higher than back in these times, but still definitely noteworthy. Not touching this at all by any means. Not to the long side, that's for sure. And I guess the only way to really short EOS is, I think, on BitMEX, which isn't friendly to the US of A. But yeah, total chart still looks pretty bad. Trying to stay over here now in the 4-hour, but overall that was just a big mover there that I noticed on the charts. But overall, 7-day, everything's still down across the board, and 4 of these in the top 6 are stable coins. So there you go. Let's just go ahead and go over to Mama Bear is usually what we like to start with, but I'm going to point out something on Ethereum real quick before I forget it. So we're going to start with Ethereum today. So zooming out here, looking at the long term, since it got put on Bitfinex back over here in the summer of 2016. Let me go ahead and go to big screen. There we go. So back over here, you can see, kind of check this volume out. This is what I'm looking at right here, is this volume action. So you can see probably about an average about where my crosshairs are in this area. Just kind of rough guesstimate there, but I think that's about fair to say. Look at all this volume that we're having on the Ethereum. So let me make this a little bit smaller like I had it. You almost can see it a little better too, which is kind of funny. So look at this big cluster of volume, arguably the most volume on Bitfinex anyway, that is. Let's go see real quick on Kraken if that's the case. Yep, also on Kraken is the same thing. So let's see if we also have confirmation with that on Bitstamp. And we do. So across all the major exchanges, we have agreeing massive volume in this sell-off that's been happening. We've been talking about some capitulation ideas that were not there, and just describing this capitulation in general. I know a lot of people are talking about it now. I don't believe that we've hit it yet, but this is looking a little bit... I kind of like how this is setting up here. I mean, look at this, is some pretty serious volume. So getting one of those gigantic candles that we've discussed, you know, where it just drops massively and get not like more than this one here. That one's a pretty decent one. I'm probably kind of zoomed out a little bit. This one's okay. But, you know, this one was okay-ish, too, and didn't matter. But, no, I'm talking big, like 40-50% drop just in that candle. And then come up to close off of the lows substantially. But, yeah, this is just something I wanted to note, that the volume on Ethereum is very high in this sell-off. And that could be partly due to people cashing out of lots of crappy ERC20 tokens. Who knows? But definitely... noteworthy, that's for sure. On a TA basis, Ethereum is neutral on the 4-hour. Getting a little bit weak here, kind of coming back below the 21 after this little pump from yesterday's video. Getting a pretty serious rejection candle from the 55. Not over yet, but likely waiting for just this week to start, and the trading, maybe even markets, they've been kind of working together lately. Everybody sells things when shit is crashing, that's for sure. Correlation becomes high across all assets. Anyway, yeah, you're kind of not really having any follow through on this, even with this little pop that we had from yesterday's video. Like I was talking about it. Let's go ahead and go to actually Bitcoin real quick, to Mama Bear. Yeah, so just kind of talking about the watching the hourly. You had this close above the 55. The bulls got in there, right? They pumped up right up into this area, nice target area, which we were kind of discussing earlier about, you know, this kind of consolidation zone. If it could get in there, that would be a nice opportunity to re-enter some shorts, because just the risk to reward on that is really easy. When you have a major support level at like 3,600 roughly, which was, you know, that kind of area right here we just highlighted with that box. You know, it's easy to manage risk. You kind of shorten this area, and then once it goes above, you know, depending on your risk tolerance, however you want to set it up, if you're comfortable with 50 bucks, 100 bucks, or, you know, 300 bucks, all the way up to here maybe. But yeah, this is just a good spot. For me, it's good for a tight spot real close to kind of around the 36. I will keep this one extremely tight. And yeah, if we kind of bust out of this range and over this trend line that has been holding down the the price since it broke back in mid-November. So, you know, I think that's a pretty important trend line. Also coincides nice with the 55 exponential here as it grinds down with it. On the daily, there you go, it's a little bit cleaner. The 21 is grinding down with that one. So nice confluence, but this is a nice little spot here. So I shorted a little bit, just tiny, you know, just because you never know, this could pop out high. But I just can't, it's hard for me to skip this this setup. And, you know, given that's what we were talking about yesterday, this was a no kind of trade zone in here. If it broke 3,200, then add to it is what I'm gonna do. It didn't. It popped up here, which it gave a good opportunity to kind of get back into a short, especially since I took off most of my speculative ones down here. So that's kind of my game plan on this right here. It is bouncing nicely up the 21 exponential though on an hourly, so, you know, keep an eye out for that. But notice it doesn't have much time. Even this can only move so much, but let's just say it does that. You know, I mean, these are pretty much going to move about the same. So this apex of this price action based on the moving average in the trend line is happening tomorrow. So yeah, be ready. This week should be a doozy. Also in equities as well, just being at the bottom of the ranges, which we'll get into here in a few. Still bearish on the daily. a little bit neutral now on the 4 hour. On the hourly, the bulls had it for a little bit, but their momentum is waning pretty quickly. You could call this a flag on an hourly. I could kind of see that. It's a little baby flag. You know, if that did break out, let's just for shits and giggles, let's see where that puts us. About 37.50. So yeah, like I said, a little baby flag. Not really worried about that. To me, this trend line and these moving averages kind of trump that right now. If that does break out over here, about 36.50 though, which I have an alert just over these wicks. It's good enough for me. I'm comfortable with that risk to reward. That's what you got to learn too when you trade, is like, just because one person does it one way and is successful does not mean that you will be. Most likely it probably means that you won't be. You got to find what works with your psychological makeup and, you know, your risk tolerance levels, etc. All right. Let's see, nothing much else to talk about that. Let's go to Litecoin, since we already hit on the Ethereum earlier. So Litecoin was looking kind of nasty yesterday, right? We were talking about it kind of closing, and I believe it was this candle here. It was one of these. And it got down here and was real nasty, kind of coming down to test, and probably got a lot of people short in this short in the hole right here, and then this immediate candle engulfed all that, and it kind of bounced, retested, and it's been looking decent ever since. And this is why we discuss patience all the time. Don't get chopped up in these ranges because you have to have a trade on. It's you don't have to have a trade. Cash is a position, you know, and I think a lot of people forget that. So, you know, this might be jumping the gun here. When stuff is range bounding, and for my risk tolerance, I like to buy at bottoms of ranges and sell at tops of ranges until it breaks the range. Because usually you can do it a few times before it breaks out, and it'll break out eventually, and then you'll have a little loss, and then you close it and move on. That's just part of doing business. You know, thinking of taking losses in that mindset is I think a little bit easier to follow than other ways. What the hell? Okay, there we go. Sorry. So the 1 hour is going back to neutral though, so the bulls again losing that momentum after this big pump, and you know, we've had to be careful about these big crazy ass pumps out of nowhere. They happen a lot in this downturn, especially on Bitcoin. A lot of those Bart Simpson kind of patterns, everyone calls them. Does really look like that though, which is pretty funny. But yeah, so you can see this big candle got about halfway down, rejection from this like almost whole zone, but then price comes back up and backfills it to test. Did print point of control right here, this red dotted line, which coincides over here too, and it's getting rejected. So this isn't the best looking area. Like I said, for me, I took the opportunity on this to enter in a short just because it's at the top of the range. I very well could be wrong. Nobody knows shit, but you just have to set up the probabilities that work for you. And so playing that one, and I still don't see any bullishness overall. We talked about a bunch on here. Until we can get some candles, at least, you know, several candles to a handful closing over on a 4 hour, the 55 exponential, and come back into this channel. Yeah, it's like, don't, you know, bullish talk is just completely off for me. I will just re-enter in pumps. All right, the trend's your friend, guys. I really hate that saying, but it's partially true. All right, let's go to the XRP, the rips. And not too hot. Pretty wild candle here. That's super odd. Comes back, kind of tests it up again, but now we're under the 21 exponential, and we're in the neutral zone on that one. Let's see on the 1 hour. Yeah, Ripple got up there, charged up for a minute, but quickly losing that momentum, both on DMI and RSI. And most of the shorter time frames, like hourly specifically and 4 hour, are still below half back on RSI. So they could be gearing up to pump up here and come test the 55 again, like it did over here. But it kind of tried right here, y'all, and and they got rejected. So, and I bet you if we measure this, it stopped roughly around the 618 on that wick. Yep, right there. Right here, yeah. So no momentum, guys. That's zero momentum there. So do be careful of that. Kind of neutral on the lower time frames. Again, see if we can get really ultimately above the purple 144 exponential and have the bulls now just stay above the bear's red line down here on DMI. You know, that would be a good first sign. Don't let them start creeping back in. That's what you want to see if you are bullish here. Right, let's go to XMR is not going to pull up the right XMR reality. What the hell is that? I don't know. Found the next new crypto stock, man. No, not really though. All right, where is the damn? No, I don't want Binance. There we go. Bittrex. All right, so kind of trying to do a little dance right here in the mid 40s. Oh man, I don't even have the lines drawn on here. I must use a different chart. No worries. Plop them on real quick. They're chilling in the neutral zone. Bears still in the power zone on the daily. Whoo, see, that's where most of the coins still have that, and that's not a great sign. They usually still have it on the 852. Let's see if Monero can even. What's up, JJ? How you doing? Let's see if Monero can. Nope. Yeah. So most of the 850 and up is still bearish, and they're power zoned up. So I'm not, I can't really get super excited yet. I want to, man. It's like I'm not bearish. Price is just telling me that, right? I feel like people get that confused. They're just like, man, why are you being bearish, bro? You're so bearish. I'm gonna get long now. What the hell, man? And I'm just like, no, dude. Like, I'm just reading what price is telling me. Like, I want it to go up a lot. It's a lot easier and stress-free when markets are going up to make money. So, like, don't get it twisted. Settling in for, okay, there we go, for bed. I was like, for ore. I'm not sure for ore what that is. Well, welcome. I hope I can soothe you to sleep. Well, we talk about TA and clouds over bowls and beers. Or whatever fancies you. Alright. Dash, here we go. Look at Dash. Kind of making an interesting trend line on the upside there. Testing up with the 144, which we were just talking about. We need to see price at least kind of try to do that. So that's interesting. Dash is trying to get it in. If you didn't know, Dash is up in Venezuela doing some cool stuff. I was doing some entertainment news reading because I do not use news for trading. But I was doing some reading just on that front. Oh wow, look at that though. Just like all the other charts, since the sell-offs began, most of them have this trend line that is staying intact very well. Yeah, man, guys, this week is going to probably be real fun. So do get ready. But anyway, Dash had some cool payment systems where you can just like pay by texting a POS. So like if you go to, use a card somewhere and they just say it's send this text, like text ABC to, XYZ, pretty much, whatever the name of the restaurant is. Or like a shortened code from your phone, and then it just pays for the bill. You just have to confirm it on your phone. It was pretty sweet. Thought that was fun. Anyway, whatever. Price on Dash getting rejected here on this trend line. Not great, but definitely showing a little bit of strength relative to other stuff, but still overall pretty bearish. All right, let's go to equities, because I will be getting ready for bed too, Mr. JJ. So this is going to be fun, guys. Still all this crap. I don't know why people are getting so upset about this Chinese tariff news seems to be what everyone wants to talk about. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, we have a gap down today when futures opened. That's 5 p.m. Central Time, Chicago time. And pretty much just been going flat the whole time, right on the point of control that it's developed the whole night, which is about 26.15-ish. And just hanging out on the bottoms. Who knows? This doesn't look great. It's bearish. I have a weird... I don't trade like my gut feelings, but I have a weird... or feelings, period. I have a weird... or I really try not to. I know it's like impossible not to ever trade them, but I try to curb those and check them real quick. But, yeah, I feel like, you know, since it gapped down overnight, maybe have a little gap down and face ripper. We haven't had a face ripper, like a continued one for the week. And we got Fed week coming up here too in a couple of weeks, so I know everybody's getting ready for that, heating up the popcorn and getting your favorite pajamas on, because it's going to be just the best party that everyone watches. 4 hour bearish though, very bearish on equities. And 1 hour is still pretty damn bearish too. But there is also though, there is divergence on the 1 hours, and it is textbook divergence. And when I say textbook, I mean there's a little extra part in excuse me, hold on, let me take a sip. I mean, extra is extra thing to RSI. You need it to cross above 50 or kind of wherever your half mark is. I usually use a little bit lower than 50, but let's just call it right here around this 50 mark. And when it dips and makes it, it's the best divergence is when the RSI comes up at least by 50 and over it, and then comes back down to make the divergence. That's the best way to see it. And I don't know if that really made sense that well. I probably should just do a video on that alone. You can see right here where it crossed up 50 and made a slightly lower low, but a much higher high on RSI. Crossed up again, actually made a higher high on RSI with a lower high here. So get a little hidden divergence. And this one here is lower, and so far it's making a higher low with lower price. So we'll see if this ends up playing out. Given the nasty just whipsaw nature of this market, and VIX up in the 20 area for, you know, pretty much this whole last 2.5 months. You know, that's two-way action is going to happen a lot. And this is a really crazy, like, type box pattern or something. I don't know if that is a thing or not, but yeah, it's pretty, pretty wild. And this is equities, but they're not volatile at all, right? Yeah. So we'll see what tomorrow opens. Will be nice. Give us a good indicator. We are in the very bottom of the range, though. Will we close negative for the year? Nobody knows. But the opening part of the year is about in this price cluster. So technically we are down about 2% on the year. And that is on the ES. So we're down about 2%. Will Santa Claus save us? Stay tuned to wherever you like to watch market action. Oh, here we go. What is this? Yeah, still the same divergence on the NASDAQ, just like the ES. Kind of just nothing really new on this one. You know, you don't have that much new information. They just gap down a little percent nowadays. That's not very much in the markets. So kind of just keep watching these lows. Really, the oscillators aren't going to give you that much. Price action's already here at the bottom range, so you really want NASDAQ to stay above like the 6,300 area. And let's see if NASDAQ is down for the year. Looks like this is the beginning of the year, this candle. So it's about dead flat. Let's just find out what it is. Almost to the T. Oh, it's about 1% up. What? Alright. Let's go over to oil. Let's see what it's doing overnight as the market's open. Had a little pop off these lows. It's a pretty decent pop, actually. About 1% or so, but kind of just hanging on to the lows or highs as it pops over here in the Sunday night session. So nothing too exciting about that by any means. Kind of the longer term picture here on oil is kind of consolidating in this base. I am long a little bit oil, and my stop's about where this alert is. It's actually a little bit above that, but that's like my dude, you better not be holding this anymore alert. Like the WTF stop. Gold looking great, breaking out some more today as the market opens this Sunday evening. Coming up on real critical long-term resistance, though. This 377 plus that longer term 900-ish. It's the newer one that I talked about it a few videos ago. So there's going to be massive resistance here. I'm actually going to put an alert at about 1270. Give me a little cushion. We get above there, it's going to get real bullish. Probably not going to happen on this run, but you never know. You never know. Just watching it. That's why I just put the alert, and if it's there, I'm already been scaling in longs. We've talked about it on other videos with GDX making these inverted head and shoulders. It's like it actually did double ones here and also here. This one got hit on the measured move. This measured move is right around here at around 21 bucks, right underneath the long-term red moving average here at 377. So that's the target on those for GDX plays and kind of gold plays in general. Let's go back to the BTC for Mama Bear to wrap this up, because I'm getting pretty tired. Again, watch these hourly 21 and 55. We lose this area here, this 60, we're not there anymore, man. 34.50 spot right around here. Lots of point of controls. Yeah, below 34.50 and ultimately 3400 is going to kick bears back into a full gear. But I will be watching the internals on this one a little bit, and with help of price action, of course, because that's where that's from. See if we can get up here into the power zone and kick off this sell-off a little bit more. There's the box kind of area that we've been targeting. I think this is a likely area to kind of come into at least and chill, and you know, until this trend line, since this is the long-term trend line, until that one even gets broke, it ain't bullish at all. Not gonna happen real fast. Bitcoin shoots up to the moon a lot, right? You're like, man, it's just gonna do this like tomorrow, next week. Yeah, maybe Santa Claus could save it, but guess what? We will see that in the price action on lower time frames and be aware of it. We won't miss those moves either. So don't be worried about that, and don't even think about it until you get some confirmation. Even think about it. Like I said, on a 4 hour, even you gotta at least come around and dance with the purple. Otherwise, whatever. Not this weak sauce getting slapped by the orange and yellows. Yeah, it's weak sauce. All right, guys. With that, I'm pretty bearish, still below this 36, 37 area. You know what? Let's go ahead and draw it in. We'll make it easy. Man, sometimes you don't want the auto zoom on. Alright. So we got up in here. Gonna make it about like so. We'll pull it over a little bit, right? Let's make it red. In the red zone. And then we're gonna copy it and put it right over here, but it can be a little bit skinnier, I think, on the downside, because we lose this these little cluster of tails here. If y'all can see that, kind of where that is. It's no bueno. All right, There you go. There's kind of our range. Let me make this like brighter. You can barely see that. There we go. There's kind of where I'm looking at for this now a little bit larger range than it was yesterday. We got a little bit new information, but it's still banging up on this trend line. So lots of resistance here. That's why I'm kind of playing a little bit to the downside. I don't see anything quite yet that shows me that I should get real excited about bulls coming back in. All right, y'all have a great night. We will chat tomorrow. Happy trading. Much love. Peace.